Right folks, we're going to focus a little bit on the TRIGA Max componentry and highlight the differences between TRIGA Max and TRIGA Go. So let's start with that. TRIGA Max was the original trigger system that was designed before TRIGA Go. It's a lot more robust, it's designed to be built higher, it's designed to take a lot more weight. There are more components, and it's important that we understand how the components interact, what fits with what. Starting with the feet, TRIGA Max feet are not reversible, unlike TRIGA Go. They've got a foot collar, which is the root where the pole or the uprights get anchored. The uprights on TRIGA Max are a larger diameter. TRIGA Go is 35 millimeters, whereas TRIGA Max is a 50 mil diameter pole, making it a lot more robust, takes a lot more weight. What you also notice is that TRIGA Max has got more components. So where TRIGA Go integrates the crossbar, so the support between the uprights, is integrated with the actual rail device that holds the fabric, TRIGA Max has got separate components. So we've got what we call a crossbar that stabilizes the system, so it links the uprights via the multi-link. And then clipping onto those crossbars, we've got the graphic rails which fit via various components, depending if it's top or bottom. We'll get into a little bit of detail on that later. TRIGA Max can also be double-sided, whereas TRIGA Go is automatically double-sided. TRIGA Max needs extra hardware on the reverse side of the system to be able to run a double-sided print. The other features that TRIGA Max has which set it apart from TRIGA Go, other than the strength and the ability for us to build it much higher. So TRIGA Go's limit is 2.5 meters, whereas TRIGA Max can go up to 6 meters. The other feature is that TRIGA Max has got, because of the larger diameter on the uprights, we've got a lot more angles available to us. So where we can set up a system in a flat configuration like this, we can also go at increments of 45 degrees all the way around the multi-link, allowing us a lot more flexibility in terms of space creation. So it's perfect if we're creating shell scheme booths or displays that have got multiple areas. And finally, the other feature that sets TRIGA Max apart from TRIGA Go is the ability for us to CNC bend the rails and the crossbars. So that allows us to give an organic feel to TRIGA Max, whereas TRIGA Go is more geometric, built at 90 degrees. TRIGA Max, we can get softer kind of look, we can get curves on it, we can get circular constructions, we can get wave constructions, convex and concave. We'll jump into now the detail on the different componentry and how they interact with each other on TRIGA Max. Right, let's dive into the detail of the componentry on TRIGA Max. So starting from the bottom up, let's look at the feet. TRIGA Max has got a larger foot profile. Unlike TRIGA Go, it is only one-sided, so it's only got one side to it, whereas TRIGA Go is a reversible foot. Flatter profile, packs a little bit more compact. So TRIGA Max foot, we get different sizes for different applications. This foot that I've got in my hand is a large foot profile. We've got small feet, corner feet, straight feet as well. Depending on the configuration that you build with the system, will determine where the feet and which type of feet are positioned on the system. The bottom pole, TRIGA Max, has got what we call a male connector with a collar. So that male connector is designed to fit into the female connector. It's got a locator rib. So on the pole side, it's got a locator groove here. So there's only one way to fit the upright, and then you lock the collar, just like that. The top part of the pole, again, male connector, female, split at the middle. We find the locator and lock that in. Now you'll notice on the pole that we've got what we call multi-links. These are hubs that allow us to connect the crossbars. Crossbar on TRIGA Max gives the system strength, rigidity, but also gives us the surface or the component to carry the tensioners, which is what gives us the tension in the fabric, that are fitted to mount rails on either side of the crossbar. So when we have a double-sided system, we would mount a tensioner to the reverse side of the graphic rail like so. So what we tend to do is when we manufacture with a system, we'll always fit a mount rail to the reverse side so that if you need to convert the system to double-sided at a later stage, we supply the components, you fit them on, and your system is double-sided. Let's look at how the crossbar interfaces with the multi-links. So I'm going to use a top crossbar. Now what we found, in order to bring costs down on the system, we realized we didn't have to have a traveling tensioner on the top and the bottom of the system. And by traveling tensioner, what I mean is this is the part that does all the work, that tensions the print. So by pressing that button there, we release a spring. That spring then gives us an extra 80 millimeters of length on the system, and that tensions the fabric. We only need them on one side. So at the top, we've got what we call a fixed rail component. That basically does the job of the tensioner. It allows us to slot the graphic rail in, and it's extended at the correct length that a traveling tensioner would be once we've released the spring. The crossbar on the ends has got what we call a cross link. It's an open groove on the bottom and it's closed at the top. That groove is a tapered design, and it's designed to fit on the rib of the upright like that. Because it's tapered, the harder we push, the tighter it gets. So we'll fit a center one as well. Let's take that rail off. Now, to illustrate the angles that we can achieve with TRIGA Max, what we have here is a straight configuration. But with the same hardware, we can angle at increments of 45 degrees. So then we can have kind of a angled configuration, or we can go all the way to a 90 degree and start creating spaces like that. Again, we can connect multiple crossbars to the system to create multiple spaces at 45 degree increments. Let's fit that back to the normal configuration. So those are the top crossbars. They've got the fixed receivers for the tensioners on top. You'll notice the bottom crossbar is basically the mirror of that, but with the traveling or the sprung tensioner at the bottom, this one here. Now this is designed to fit bottom up. The reason for that is when we activate the tensioner, the forces are pulling away from each other. Sorry, the forces are pulling towards each other, and that tension then pulls the rails together, and that tightens up the system. If we had these fitting the other way, when we activate the tensioners, the crossbar would fall out. So this ensures a nice, robust, tight system, so to speak. Once we have the crossbars onto the system, we've created the structure. So we've got the uprights, we've got the crossbars. In order for us to accommodate a print, we need to fit the graphic rails. There's different types of graphic rails. So we've got what we call an inline rail. An inline rail has got two pointy tips on either side. That's designed to fit in the middles, like this. So we've got the middle of the system. That clips in to the top of that receiver. We center it. Now you'll notice on the other side here we've got a curved end. So these are the ends. When we've got an end of a system, we'll use a graphic rail that's got a cap like this, just to finish it off nicely. And that would be this part here. would be an end. And that again slots into those open grooves. It allows us, the way that this is designed, we can slide these rails up and down. So when we fine tune the system, we want a nice 4mm gap in between the rails, centered with the pole, top and bottom. So we'll fit a bottom one, and that would be the mirror of that one, fits into the bottom. And that would be ready to receive a print. Now you'll notice on this system as well, we've got multi-links midway up the poles. We can fit a multi-link anywhere along open extrusion on TRIGA Max. So we obviously can't fit it where the connector is, but anywhere up this pole we can fit extra multi-links. The reason we do that is to fit accessories. So we would use then what we call a support bar, which doesn't have any mount rails. It's not designed to carry tensioners at all. It's designed to carry brackets. So it's the same part as this, just without all the accessories. And that is designed to fit between those uprights into the multi-link. And that will allow us to fit various brackets to attach shelving, magnetic mounts, product, etc. That essentially is the basics, or are the basics, of TRIGA Max hardware kit. Now I mentioned that we can convert this system quite easily to a double-sided. So as we've got it set up here, it's single-sided. The print would fit into this top groove over here. It would fall to the bottom, tuck into the bottom groove, and then we would activate the tensioners when we're ready to tension the print, just like that, by pressing those activators. Right, so we've got a single-sided hardware setup that I've just demoed on. If we wanted to convert that to double-sided, it's as simple as adding extra components. So the hardware is already prepared with extra mount rails at the back of the crossbar, as I've mentioned. These would be the extras that get added on, so it would be the top receiver bracket and the bottom tensioners, and then of course the graphic rails, which would then fit into the back. We align those grooves at the top, and that's given us a channel to run a print all the way around, double-sided. Now, when you initially see a TRIGA Max system dismantled, there's a lot of parts. It can be a little bit intimidating, but that's precisely why we produce data packs for every single kit that we manufacture. The data packs have a schematic on the front that show you the built kit that you ordered, and on the reverse side there's a parts list. Parts list is coded, and all those codes coincide with the actual part labels. So every single part on a TRIGA Max system is labeled, corresponds with the codes on the data pack, and also on the schematic you'll see there's indicators showing which parts go where. And if you work methodically from the bottom up, you'll have no problems setting up a TRIGA Max kit. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability and ecological impact of our system. This system is designed to last. We've got clients who have owned their system for 20 years, close on 20 years. So that already is the most sustainable solution when it comes to being sensitive to the environment. If you build something to last, it's not going to impact on the environment. However, we've also taken into account recyclability after use. So all of our components are fully recyclable on a TRIGA Max system. The aluminium extrusion, infinitely recyclable. We manufacture our plastic parts depending on where they're fitted, either out of ABS or glass-filled nylon. Both those plastics are recyclable. The steel feet, again, fully recyclable. The prints on the system, what we do is we offer an upcycle service. So if you have no need for the print after your show, if you give it to us, we charge a fee to convert the prints into giveaway items for your clients, like cooler bags, shopping bags, lunch bags, pencil cases, you name it. And post-show, those are a great giveaway and a great brand link that you can give to your clients that will keep your brand top of mind. TRIGA Max is a complete solution for exhibitions, trade shows, promotions, center court activations.